Nithyananda, dear NDTV, we would like to respond to your article published on your website on the 1st of December 2023. While we acknowledge that news channels have an important responsibility, which is to cover vital news, we strongly condemn NDTV's unethical stance and condemn the systematic disinformation campaign that is being amplified by the Hindu-phobic racist media. This disinformation campaign misrepresents and perpetuates further persecution of our already marginalized and persecuted minority indigenous Hindu communities that we together represent as KAILASA. It is extremely unfortunate that NDTV has published such articles without contacting us, seeking our consent, or even trying to understand our side of the story. So now we avail this opportunity to set the record straight. If you see, the ethics of journalism include truth and accuracy, independence, fairness and impartiality, humanity and accountability. Now, why are these 5 principles so important? Because these are the fundamental reasons why there is any legitimacy to the existence of news media. If media houses do not follow these basic principles, there is no point in even them existing. We regret to state that this article of NDTV that we are mentioning here does not meet any of the above ethics of journalism. Anyway, let us now look at this article, what the NDTV has to say. The NDTV article falsely states, the United States of KAILASA presented to him as a South American island. South American island? The NDTV's article above quoted statements are completely false, fabricated, and in complete contradiction of publicly stated and widely circulated facts. KAILASA representatives have never stated to anybody that KAILASA was a South American island. This was already clarified in an official press response by the press secretary of the Holy See of Hinduism on the 17th of March 2023. Additionally, neither has the above mentioned official nor any other official anywhere made any such statements to any media or any person to such effect. Such a false claim has not even arisen anywhere else. Thus, what is mentioned in this article by the NDTV is clearly concocted, fabricated, and defamatory. The next statement, which is quoted in the NDTV article, says, a senior Paraguayan official was fired this week after signing a cooperation memorandum with a country that he has since learned does not exist. Regarding the racist and wrong labeling of KAILASA done by critics, we need to ask a more fundamental question. What makes a state a real state versus a fictional one? Is Taiwan, Kosovo, or Palestine a state? Some would say yes, others would say no. What is incontrovertible is that self-determination is a human right enshrined in many international instruments, including the United Nations Charter. Another incontrovertible human right is the right to the freedom of religion. People with a common origin, history, language, culture, customs, or religion can turn into a nation through the awakening of national consciousness. A nation can exist even without a state, as is exemplified by the stateless nations. The United Nations International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, recognized by 178 nations, in its very first article declares, all peoples have the right of self-determination. By virtue of that right, they freely determine their political status and freely pursue their economic, social, and cultural development. These are rights being exercised by all of KAILASA's people. KAILASA may be less recognized compared to other states, but that does not deny the people of KAILASA from exercising their fundamental human rights and political rights of building diplomatic relations and recognition. KAILASA is a sovereign entity as per international law. Kailasa is a non-violent, humanitarian, service-oriented nation, and we are being hammered and persecuted by Hinduphobic, Hindu-mesic, racist forces denying our right to exist, denying us our right to get recognition, and denying our right to survive. Unlike any other modern nation, the United States of Kailasa provides a base for the revival, preservation, and central administration of Hinduism, similar to the Vatican, which serves as a central administration hub for the Roman Catholic Church. Of course, no one bats an eye when an established country exchanges international aid for concessions from other countries. Unfortunately, when an emerging state like Kailasa selflessly offers humanitarian aid, officials of the other country are often shamed into resignation because they were somehow duped. And this is what the media is telling. Let me quote what NDTV is saying. They came and expressed a wish to help Paraguay. They presented several projects. We listened to them, and that was that, he said, admitting to have been fooled. In the document, complete with the ministry's letterhead and official seal, Mr. Chamorro salutes the Honorable Nithyananda Paramashivoham, Sovereign of the United States of Kailasa, and praises his contributions to humanity, Hinduism, and the Republic of Paraguay. So the document referenced was not a memorandum of understanding to begin with, but a proclamation. As it is a proclamation, there is nothing that Kailasa receives in return. Furthermore, even an MOU would have been merely a statement of the possibility of contributions in the future. However, Kailasa, without any vested interest, without anything to gain, without any obligation to contribute, selflessly has already contributed millions of Paraguayan guaranis worth of medical aid to support the people in Paraguay. Kailasa's humanitarian aid is not gathered through taxes as how most established nations would, but is instead raised through hard work and sacrifices of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Nithyananda Paramashivam, and the contributions of hard-working individuals of a persecuted minority indigenous community that are inspired to do the same, witnessing the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's relentless sacrifices and unshakable commitment towards this mission. Kailasa is even committed to making more of such contributions. However, it is unfortunate that through Hinduphobic racist articles, the media has derailed these humanitarian services that Kailasa is committed to. The NDTV, by hosting and publishing this article, has greatly amplified this systematic persecution. Instead of recognizing and appreciating these extraordinary contributions, NDTV has put systematic and focused efforts into perpetuating deeply harmful disinformation that directly harms the vulnerable community who are beneficiaries of Kailasa's humanitarian aid. The next statement that NDTV states in their article is the memorandum signed by the two parties had envisaged the establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries. Kailasa is a recognized international body and has established several bilateral relations. Organizations and institutions representing Kailasa have established diplomatic relationships with many cities, states, constituencies, municipalities around the world, bridging cultures, encouraging interreligious dialogue, and continuing our Hindu-based humanitarian services and to promote global peace through better understanding of diverse cultures. The next statement that NDTV says is Paraguayan media reported that Paramashivam was in reality an Indian citizen wanted for crimes committed in his country. These unproven allegations are completely false and malicious. They are a part of the raging lawfare on Hinduism, Hindu gurus, including the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. It is important to note that despite nearly 15 years of malicious prosecution in India, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has not been convicted of any crime. Moreover, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Nithyananda Paramashivoham, has been proven innocent and exonerated in the US judiciary more than 10 years ago. The court ruled in favor of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and fined the false victim nearly $500,000 in fines, which is given in the US District Court, Southern District of Ohio, case number CV526. As per international expert opinion and documented evidences that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is a persecuted individual whose basic human rights were denied and is subject to more than a decade of lawfare. These facts are well documented with a plethora of evidence that can be shared with NDTV and any other media upon request. We demand a sincere and unambiguous apology for the blatant inaccuracies presented in your articles and publications. A correction or clarification acknowledging the false information and providing accurate details about KAILASA is imperative to rectify the harm caused. Your role as a responsible media entity obliges you to act in the public interest and uphold journalistic integrity. We anticipate your prompt cooperation in setting the record straight and, in doing so, cease the perpetuation of your harmful narratives. We are open to further discussions and providing additional information. Thank you for your immediate attention to this matter. We expect a resolute and corrective response. Thank you, Nithyanandam.